That was perfect. Let's do it again.
You better keep your mouth shut.
And cut.
You what?
Come again, Marge?
You what?
Kick it.
Eat my shorts.
All right, I'll eat your shorts.
Yeah, eat my shorts.
Yeah.
That is so lame.
Hey! I mean that. No, not that either. Okay, let's bring on
Ed Berliner, the fastest show in sports.
The little running back is down. I think he's been decapitated.
Up and at them.
Thanks for the help, mysterious stranger. Say, I think those x-rays gave me superpowers.
What, were you nuts?
Well, you see, when I get bored, I make up my own movie. I have a very short attention span.
Yeah, dude. My mom says all I have to do is chow on this box.
Greetings, true believers. Welcome in. I'm Ed Berliner. I am the ringmaster here on the fastest show in sports. The gentleman, now I'm going to try to do this again at the top of the show and see if I can get it right. The gentleman to my left, your right, there you go. I got it right there. Yeah. That's Kevin Winter, former ESPN host and anchor. He joins us here today because Mike Wise is on assignment. Just like to say that. On assignment. We went there before one time. Kevin Winter's on assignment. We don't know what he's doing on assignment, but he's off somewhere.
On assignment.
So
I love that.
That's why it's the easiest way to take care of everything. We go ahead. Let's get rocking here.
Hey, did anything happen in a week since we last did the show together? Woo!
That's what I was kind of thinking about. Now, we couldn't do the show last Friday because I was on the road and had some things to do. And so we come back here. And of course, it's the show that you miss where everything just blows up. In almost everything, it goes crazy. But we have so much to catch up on now. So I have never been so thrilled in my life to say that we're going to start in the WNBA today, kids.
Words I never thought I would utter for 600, Alex.
Never. You put that right up there and you never thought you'd lead. I mean, I get it. It's a major sport. We understand that. But to lead with the WNBA, with the audience that usually listens to sports talk shows and sports podcasts and sports video, that is usually the male demographic from 18 to 38, somewhere in there, or 20 to 45, whatever. Most guys don't give a damn about the WNBA. They don't want to know. But it's worth it this week because this is just absolutely hot, and it's just fun stuff to talk about.
And it's juicy. It
is juicy. You know, we do have to make that element right here. Yes, we're just like every other podcast and show in America, whether it's news, sports, entertainment, whatever. You look for the juicy, salacious crap that happens at the top, and you just want to grab them. That's our whole, we pull you in just when you thought you were out. We pull you back in.
We pull you back in. And then also, let's add the other element when we bring this up. The story we're going to has black and white.
See?
And it's got a rivalry, and it's got two individuals who've been talked about for 4 years now. So I'll let you set it up because obviously everyone can figure out now. We're talking about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and what happened over the weekend in the season opener.
What has gone on between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese would normally just go down to basically a rivalry between two players. But let's be honest here. What happens between Clark and Reese right now is pushing the WNBA. It is part of their marketing. It is part of putting people in the seats. Yes, I understand, and I'm going to catch grief from people on this going, wait a minute, you're overlooking the fact that this is really exceptionally talented basketball. Yes, it is. I've said that so many times before. These are exceptionally talented individuals. But right now, the WNBA will grab onto anything they can, which will help market them and help put the words WNBA on somebody's lips, like ours.
Right.
Because that's all about putting bodies in the seats, selling tickets, getting ratings. And these two are good for ratings right now because it doesn't make a difference if they hate each other, like each other, loathe each other. If it's all just a big act, it doesn't make a difference. It grabs it because people immediately go after it. Oh, there it is. The black woman, the white girl are going at it right now. We got to make something out of this. You know that.
How did the WNBA and ABC on Sunday afternoon, how did they open their season? There were two games, Las Vegas versus New York. Last two champions, I believe. think New York won last year. Last two champions. Game 1. Game 2. Indiana and Chicago. Caitlin versus Angel. They put it on there's the reason. They are at that level. And by the way, New York and Las Vegas is good basketball. That's like that. I actually watched some of those finals the last couple of years. That's good basketball. And it draws me to that, to watch those finals.
But wait a minute. I'm going to stop you there for 1 second and add something. When you just said, I actually watched it.
Yes.
That is actually very telling, because people would not say that necessarily if they're basketball fans about the NBA, but because you're a guy, you say, I actually watched it. It's kind of like you say, I gave it a chance to watch it here, even though, and I know you didn't say it, and I know you didn't mean it, but the underlying that a lot of people are taking there is, I actually watched it, even though it was women's basketball. I'm
telling you the truth. I don't go searching for the WNBA. But if there's a matchup that I'm familiar with, because I used to have to check the score, I check the schedule, see who's there. Okay, I kind of know what's going on here. Maybe this is gonna be a good matchup. Or I follow some women who are part of the WNBA and who follow it. And I if their Twitter says, "Hey, this is gonna be a good game tonight," I'll check it out, and I'll say, "Hey, let's see what this is about. Show me that it's worthwhile for me to say, hey, I'm gonna stick to this now." So that's where I said Vegas and New York was always good to stick to.
Right.
The other side is, this is getting spicy between Angel and Caitlin. And
it's been spicy for a while, but now because they're sitting on the same pro side of things and the WNBA is looking for as much marketing as they can get, they'll make a big simus out of this no matter what happens.
Here's the difference between them in college and them now. Now you're guaranteed to have them face each other, at least twice a year? I don't know the makings of the WNBA schedule. You're guaranteed to have regular season matchups. That wasn't guaranteed to happen in college. You were only hoping that Iowa and LSU would meet somewhere along the line in the NCAA tournament. We've gotten to the point now when you're at the pros, you can set these schedules up. You can where'd I go? You can set these schedules up. You can set these schedules up where you have these star matchups.
But that's standard for any sport. I mean, absolutely that the WNBA and ESPN work together to make sure that Clark and Reese were there on the very first day, whether it's the first game or the second game, because that's the explosiveness. Here's our champions. Oh, yeah, and by the way, here's two players who either really can't stand each other or who are buying in on all the marketing necessary to go ahead, scream, holler, and create some sort of a battle here that will get us played over and over again and get a couple of white guys to talk about us.
Well, and now, so here's my next level. You're 100% right, but here's my next level. Because when I see these TikToks or Reels on whatever it is, and they're showing either Angel or Caitlin, I immediately go to click to that little circle that's got that little thing down where the comments are. And I click the comments because I want to see the comments. And it's massive hate and massive love. And you can tell which side is coming for which. It is obvious. And by the way, and I hate it. But I just want to read the comments because I actually enjoy watching both of them play basketball. They're not the same skill set. I think they're both terrific at what they do. Angel is a worker on the blocks. Caitlin is a shooter. I enjoy watching them play basketball. Very rarely do you actually have to see them mix it up like they did on Sunday. And if you haven't seen the clip, good. See the clip because I've always defended Angel as well. She's exuberant. She is emotional. That's the word I'm searching for. She's emotional when she plays. Say it again.
Angry.
I don't think she's angry.
I do.
I don't think she's angry.
I think she's angry that she doesn't get as much. I think she is very angry about the attention level that is foisted on Caitlin Clark, and she believes that she should get more of it. Absolutely, without question, if you just listen to her. And not only that, but look at her reactions.
Okay, so I wouldn't call that angry. I would say, so she had a comment, I think it was last year. She had a comment where Angel said, it's not just Caitlin that is bringing that is this new wave of player into this WNBA that is bringing this league along. She is absolutely along for the ride. If there's no Angel, I'm not. Caitlin's going to get the love, but I'm not sure the league's going to get as much attention. Angel is absolutely helping this league get attention because the two of them. I mean, I was 7. So hang on. I'm 7 in 84 with Bird and Magic, black and white. You would be able to help me. I know. You'd be able to help this a little bit. You'd be able to say this a little more. You watched them in 79, black versus white. I've seen all the documentaries. Huh?
I was just a child.
No, you weren't. No, you weren't. I know you. But is it similar? Is it similar to you got the brothers who are rooting for Magic and the white people who are rooting for Larry back then?
Absolutely. There's no doubt that Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark are divided along racial lines, without question. Yeah. I mean, the white people are going to say, hey, Caitlin Clark, God, she's awesome. She's wonderful. Oh, that wasn't a tough foul. Black people may come out and say, hey, Angel Reese was just doing her job, man. Come on. That's what it's all about. She's in there and she's tough and she's a great basketball player, all this. But then it gets down to the hate issue, which the WNBA is now investigating. But hang on. We haven't seen the clip yet, and it's still worth talking about this at this level, because I get it. But hate is spewed all the time for every single sport, for NBA, for MLB, for NFL, for NHL, for MLS, for all of them. There is hate all over the place thanks to this ridiculous sewer that is known as social media. And the point about it is, if it gets to be a potential for violence, that's where you got to look into it. But people hating, just stop. It's not anything you have to worry. And I guarantee you that if this happens to NBA players like that and there's hate, the NBA looks into it, but the WNBA looks into it even more vociferously because it's 2 female athletes. Is that fair?
Great. It's 100% fair. There's hate. Every competitor will have hate. Every good competitor will have hate. Now, there's a difference. I may hate you and then I'm going up against you as a competitor, but I then have to respect you. There's an absolute difference. I can hate you, but I can respect you. I hated the Lakers growing up. I respect them. I hated the New York Yankees growing up. I hated Derek Jeter as I got older, but I respect him. And if I got a chance to shake his hand, you're a damn good ball player. I shook Magic Johnson's hand one time at the NBA All-Star game down in New Orleans, and I said, Magic, Kevin Winter, Boston, Massachusetts. The look he gave me was death. It was awesome because the grip got tighter. His grip got tighter, and I just said, and I hated you. But but I loved you.
Which is the sociological side of all this, which comes into sports, because you can hate a player, and we all have players we hate and teams that we hate. But then comes the delineating line. There are those who hate and will respect. They will say, I get it. It's like right now, I'll use the hockey reference because that's what I use a lot. The Toronto Maple Leafs and their fans just freaking hate Brad Marchand. Holy crap. They want to take him out and they want to run him over with a snowmobile. But at the same point, they'd be willing to say, and I've said this to Shannon many times when it comes down to players, I said, God, I hate that guy. But boy, I wish he was on our team. You hate him until they're there and they're helping you, and then all of a sudden you love him. That's one side. That's the respect side. But then you have the other side, which, thanks to the fetid sewer that is social media, you have people who can spew real hate and real violence and saying things that you would never say out loud if you weren't covered up by the fact that you are now running under an assumed name on social media, or nobody can really touch you, or your friends and family don't see you, or you put your own name out there and you really don't care what kind of reputation you have. That's the part that you have to investigate, and you got to stop that. But there's no way to stop it.
Well,
horses out of the barn on that one.
Keyboard warriors will be there forever. They're always going to be from now until the end of time. You can't stop them. I also think part of this too is, and I brought it up before, where athletes now, it seems like basketball players now don't know how to take or give a hard foul. I also think athletes now, they don't know how to take and give a hard foul. They also don't know how to take. They don't know where the hate is. Automatically, So, and this is where I'm a fan of Angel Reese. But when we see the clip, when it plays, for those of you watching on the video podcast, Angel immediately snaps. But she did something first. And if you want to play the role of Bill Laimbeer, look it up, kids. He was a dick, an absolute dick on the basketball court. You want to play that role, you better be ready for when it comes back at you.
But he played a physical game, and this, I hate to say it, this walks back to what we have discussed seemingly every single show, and we've talked about basketball here, is why the game doesn't hold any great allure for me, is because they have taken the physical nature that I grew up with in the 80s and the 90s. I watched them play this kind of sport. It's not there anymore. But you do have those athletes that will put up with it, especially in the NBA, but then you have the preening prima donnas who say, don't touch me, don't get in my face, I'm going to get in, I'm going to come right back at you, I'm going to use the F word, I'm going to come all over you right now, and I'm going to make sure that you know how much I hate you. That unsettles you. That unsettles everything. That makes it, you're less. Walk away.
Right.
And it makes it better. Now, to your point, for those of you watching on the video cast, you'll be able to see this. For those of you listening on the audio podcast, what you're going to hear here is the play-by-play call of what happened in the game between the two of them, unedited, and then we're going to come back and there's something. If you do get a chance and you're listening on the audio podcast, see if you can watch this, if you can find the video on this, and you'll get an idea of what we're talking about here, what's the one thing that's interesting about it. But if you're watching it on video, you'll see it as well. This is Caitlin Clark against Angel Reese, and this is the moment that changed the world.
Rebecca Allen, too strong on a three. And look out, Caitlin Clark pushes Angel Reese, and Angel Reese gets right up into Caitlin Clark. Afterwards has something to say as Clark walks away. We know there are always increased eyeballs, energy, and attention around the matchups between Reese and Clark, and Angel Reese is still going after Caitlin Clark in the aftermath.
Everyone in the arena had to know this foul was coming. As soon as you saw Angel Reese wide open, you knew that Caitlin Clark was going to come in and take that foul.
That Angel took exception to. So initially, Angel pushes Natasha Howard. Caitlin Clark points out the no call. Then she applies a hard foul on Reese. Reese gets up right away to get in the face of Clark. Aaliyah Boston ends up getting between them. You'll see on this angle, the initial part seems okay from Clark, but then there's a shove at the end that I think should be upgraded to a flagrant one, because that seemed like unnecessary contact from Clark.
Yeah, I agree with you. And she goes in. There is a little bit extra there from Caitlin Clark in terms of the foul.
Now, what everybody saw on that clip was the play where Angel Reese has the ball, Caitlin Clark reaches in, slaps the ball away. What you didn't see, unless you really had to pay attention, and even ESPN and so many of the others, while it was there, it's a couple of seconds for context. Angel Reese had committed undoubtedly a foul by pushing the one player in the back and shoving her. You can see Caitlin Clark even go, what's going on here? They're saying, you're not going to call this? So she gets the ball in her hand, and what does Clark do? She commits the hard foul, basically in retaliation for what she did. Complete basketball move, no animosity whatsoever. That's what happens in a game, and that's what happens in a game. And for Angel Reese, take it, suck it up, and stop embellishing, because she became a really bad actor in that as well, because that whole flailing of arms was nothing more than a show to put on to see what else she could draw, and then going after Clark when Clark had turned her back and Angel Reese comes after, F you, what the F are you doing, and all this back and forth. That's just all Hollywood histrionics, which is Angel Reese trying to be on top of the whole thing and trying to say, I'm going to get you. It's my time to get in here and make some noise. That's what annoys me.
By the way, just go hit your 2 free throws and away you go. And you just got, because you weren't giving you the open layup. And I don't blame her. Also, Caitlin Clark was standing up for her teammate. Again, I'm a huge fan of both. And yes, a white person can be a fan of both. It can happen, okay? I'm a fan of both. And this is why I said before you played the clip, Angel, you want to play the role of Bill Laimbeer. Bang! That was a forearm to the back. I believe it's Natasha Howard. I know it's Howard. I think her first name's Natasha.
I think it's
An
Natasha,
absolute
yes.
forearm to her back. And you're right. Caitlin's like, what the hell? Are we okay? You're not calling that? Whack! Right across the arm.
Welcome to a little retaliation in basketball and in a physical
Bingo!
game. I give Caitlin Clark a tremendous amount of respect for that. She played the game hard, and there's a lot of people who look at Caitlin Clark and they say that she's soft.
Not
But
anymore.
all she can do is shoot three-pointers.
Not anymore.
Bullshit. This
Agreed.
girl gets right in there and plays the game hard.
So here's also where I respect. This is where I go back to. Sometimes players today have never taken these fouls. Angel didn't know what I'm sure Angel's been hit hard before. She didn't know what to do because it's like, wait, what? Someone just stepped up to me, and someone stepped up to me. Caitlin, here's what I love: you gave a hard foul, walk away. You're not chicken. You're walking away. You can even walk away with your arm up. Did it? My bad. Like they do in the NBA. I committed the foul. Foul on me. I don't even know what the call was. I'm sure it was updated. Don't even know what the call was.
They have so many lines for it now. Hard, intricate, physical foul, level 1, grade 1, grade A. Just call a foul and walk away, will you?
Right. I know. I'm with you. Look, in a sense, the WNBA for a moment probably went, uh-oh. But then the WNBA went, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. More. Give me a little more. Don't let it. And this is the fine line that they will be toting. Because now every person who does follow the NBA, the WNBA, every person, even like me, a casual observer, if there's a matchup and let's say there's only June baseball on that night, there's no NBA Finals and no Stanley Cup. I don't even know when the next time they play. But I may go look, won't I?
Exactly.
I may go.
It's a sales job.
Yes. So this also, you said it right. It goes to the cesspool of social media because everyone and their uncle has an opinion. And I also do understand people are sticking up for your own ilk.
Well, now, wait a minute now. See, but now you're crossing into some very difficult territory here.
Great. I'm trying not to.
But you're already there because there are people who are going to look at this and hear this, and they're going to say, here's a couple of white guys talking about the WNBA, men talking about the WNBA, and white guys talking about Angel Reese. And did you see the one guy with the Hawaiian shirt where he's hammering away at her? He has got to be a racist. You know this stuff starts, and it has no basis whatsoever. In fact, there is zero to it. But it's again that social media ilk. I'll use that word that you used, which will walk in here and say that's the cause. No,
by the way,
it is just play hard basketball. And not only that, it doesn't make a difference if you're a male or female basketball player. If this happens, I'll hit the male player the exact same. I don't care.
Absolutely.
I don't care what sex they are. I don't care what color they are. As far as I'm concerned, Angel, you played this. You did a little Hollywood. You put an act in there. You embellished it without question. National Hockey League players would look at that and go, come on, kid, you're not quite up to our level yet. We do it a lot better than this. And then you had to put on the whole show by trying to lift up your jersey and going after Caitlin Clark and making all this big melodramatic bullshit. Stop. Just play the game. You're a hell of a talented player. Just play the game. And like Kevin said, if you want to be Bill Laimbeer, be Bill Laimbeer. Matter of fact, we love it. And so would the WNBA.
Agree, but also be ready to get what Bill Laimbeer got coming to him. Robert Parrish decked the shit out of him one year. Decked the shit. Larry Bird threw a ball off his head.
It's going to happen sooner or later. Well, okay. Let's hope it doesn't happen.
I agree, but this is also why I don't think players, they want to play tough, but they don't know how to play tough. And when tough happens to them, you resort to playgrounds, and it can be any color because any color played on the playground. So don't go there. Don't even try it, people. I'm not like that. When you want to play tough, just know tough's coming the other way.
There's an old adage that I have used time and time again. If you want to play lumberjack, learn to handle your end of the log.
It's an interesting one.
Flat and simple, okay? You want to be the tough person, you want to be the tough guy, the tough gal, learn to handle that side of it, all right? If you want to strike back, then realize that's what you're going to get hammered with from now on. You're the one that decides you're going to strike back outside of the rules, or you walk away, take it, let your play speak for it, everything you do. And if Angel Reese lets her play speak for it and stops with all the histrionical bullshit, she's going to be seen by more people than see her now as one of the best players in the WNBA.
I remember.
Question.
If we're wrapping this one up, I'll finish it on this. I remember when I was doing Sports Centers at ESPN Radio. It was a quiet night, and look, this is what would happen. I would say if there's NBA, if there's NHL playoffs, those playoffs get top billing. If there's Major League Baseball, but sometimes you get a point where there's a quiet night, or you get a storyline in the WNBA that you're going to follow. Angel Reese was on like a double rebound streak. I think it was last year. She was on a ridiculously long streak. I gave her top billing because that was the story. It deserved it. That's the kind of player she is. Right. That's the kind of player she is. It deserved it. Sometimes you don't need that extra crap. You don't, the histrionics. I'm with you. That flailing, as much as I defend her, that flailing, I didn't like it. I was not a fan of that flailing.
And the reason for people to take any umbrage with all of this is ridiculous. There are people who will come in and say the only reason you're hitting on her is because A, it's women's basketball, B, you don't like women's basketball, C, it's a black player in women's basketball that you don't like, so it's got to show that you just hate them. 1, 2, 3, there you go, 3 strikes, you're out. You absolutely hate this. It doesn't make a difference. Yes, you're right. I'm not a big fan of the WNBA, but I can recognize a hell of a player when I see them.
Sure.
And whether it's Breckers, whether it's Clark, whether it's Reese, they're great players and great athletes. I can criticize them just like I criticize any male player in any other sport because that's what I do for a living, and it doesn't make a difference to me their sex or their race. No difference at all.
And by the way, we didn't even mention when we went through names. We didn't mention the half the teams from half the players from Vegas or New York, which are friggin' loaded. They are. Hey, that's that. Like I said, I'm going to go back to the comment. Back to what I said at the top. That's actually really good basketball that gets my attention. Yeah, when Vegas, New York play.
And you know full well that the WNBA, ESPN, any other broadcast partners are going to play the shit out of a clip like this.
Absolutely.
And they're going to keep talking about it because it's marketing, it's tickets, it's ratings. And I guarantee you the next time that Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark play anywhere, it is going to become a major event. It's going to be put on a time when everybody can see it. They're going to make sure that the schedule allows other people to see it who may not be big basketball fans. And it's going to get hyped like crazy about Angel, Caitlin, the rematch.
Yes.
And it'll come in there and you'll have sound effects of crashing gloves and a boxing ring and all that. They'll go nuts for it because it works.
Agree.
Every time.
Agree.
What are you doing?
I was actually trying to find the schedule. I want to know when they're going to play next. They actually was curious. I was trying to find it.
It succeeds.
Look, this is what people do. You know, I was trying to give me 2 seconds. I was trying to find it, trying to find the schedule, regular season. So we want to play Indiana Saturday, June 7th, 8 p.m. on CBS.
Look at that.
Saturday, June 7th, Chicago at home versus Indiana, 8 p.m. on CBS.
Saturday night, prime time, major network. There you go.
Yeah, by the way,
and not only that, but the point you're making there is that the WNBA was already thinking ahead on this because they know exactly what they've got. They were hoping for this.
Yes. Right.
So they make the schedule out well in advance, of course. They don't have to change anything here.
No.
So they knew they were going to have Reese and Clark. Hey, we got fireworks here. Let's put it on prime time. Brilliant.
Exactly. Brilliant. Well done. You look, and that's how you build something.
Yes.
These two are going to help build. They're going to be foundation blocks looked on years later as what helped build the WNBA.
They're not going to be, right, you're going to have that first tier of players like Sue Bird and many of the others who were there who got this league off to a good start.
Rebecca Lobo.
Yeah,
Right.
Rebecca Lobo, you can't say a solid start because they've had a lot of
Sure.
they've had a lot of moments
Rocky,
here and
the
a lot
NBA
of
had to come
guesses
in and help
because
them.
let's be honest, the WNBA still wouldn't exist without a subsidy from the NBA.
Agree.
The NBA keeps them alive right now. Eventually, they're going to have to go out on their own, and eventually it looks like they are going to be that way. And I hope they do. I hope they become as big as they want to be. Although I did hear somebody say that one day that this had to be one of the social media memes. I don't even know if it was true. I just kind of saw it and stopped, where it said the WNBA in 5 years is going to be bigger than the NFL. I spit my coffee. I don't know who said it. I don't care.
Ma'am, or sir, or kid, can you please send some of what you were smoking my way?
Oh, man.
I'm unemployed and bored. I'm okay. I have time. I have time. You got time
smoking
to
that wacky tobacco. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
They were smoking a wacky tobacco.
Oh, God. Well, when we were gone on Friday, we didn't get to hit, of course, the big story that everybody was talking about at that time. But it's a story that is going to go on over and over and over again. I'm standing in a Cincinnati hallway many years ago with a bunch of other media members. Mike Lupica was one of them, and there were many of the others who were national broadcasters and national writers. We were standing outside the courtroom that Pete Rose was inside on that day, and Pete Rose was waiting to tell everybody all about what he had done, what he hadn't done, what was going to happen, and Pete never came out. He was kept away from us on that day, but I was covering the story at that time that involved Pete and his lying, lying to Major League Baseball, lying to anybody else who basically had any interest in what he was doing. It was a story that we all followed. And not only that, I can still recall at times hosting radio talk shows a billion years ago. And it's 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. There's no games on. I worked for a radio station in Miami that used to carry a lot of different games. Nobody was an official station at that point. They carried a lot of Yankees games. They carried Orioles games because they were both spring training in Miami at the time. And there was no game that night. We had that set rule going for us. Anytime you wanted to light up the phones, anytime, all you had to do was say, I don't know if Pete Rose really belongs in the Hall of Fame. Boom! I mean...
Show's over. Show is over. You have the easiest 4 hours of your life. I learned it as a kid. I tried it as a kid on a station that couldn't operate a toaster oven.
It worked.
And it worked. We were full. So anyway, continue.
And we're going to be doing it, and it's, even though I had a friend of mine come in and say, well, it looks like you won't be able to do that anymore. I said, are you kidding? This is manna from heaven. This is just going to go on even longer now, because now this opens up all kinds of different avenues here. The Pete Rose lovers and the haters are all out, and we are still going to be able to get anybody to talk about it. So let's get right to it. Pete Rose does not belong in the Hall of Fame. Bingo, end of story, as an individual. And I say that because Pete Rose is in Cooperstown. His name is mentioned. There are baseball records that Pete holds that are noted at the Hall of Fame. His name is there. He is not there as an individual player because he broke the rules. And not only that, not only did he break the rules, he lied about it over and over again. And I went online when this whole thing happened last week, and I pointed out that along with all this, Pete was just a bad guy because he was involved in a potential sexual assault of a minor. The story's out there. Everybody knows it. Nobody wants to talk about it, but it's there. It exists. And Kevin, the one thing that I keep coming back to is I hear from these people who go, whoa, wait a minute now. He didn't do that on the baseball playing field. He went out and played baseball, and the Baseball Hall of Fame should be about just what he did on the field. It's about more than that. There are character issues as well. And if you want to go to a plaque, to a place in Cooperstown, and see Pete Rose's name there, that plaque needs to say something to the effect of, he was banned from baseball, he lied about it, he was then let back in, and oh yeah, by the way, there's still a question of a sexual assault charge. If you want to worship that guy, go right ahead. Not me.
Okay. I knew right away this was going to be a little more, I don't want to say personal, but this struck a
Nuanced.
bit.
This is
Huh?
nuanced. There's a lot of nuance in this.
Well, but when I say personal to you, it seems more personal to you than it is to me. And let me explain why. So obviously I didn't see Pete. And also I get the text the next day when we didn't have a show. God damn it, I wish we had a show. I'd be doing the whole thing about Pete Rose. But I didn't see Pete. I remember when Bart Giamatti was commissioner. And I was growing up, and this story was on the nightly news. My dad always watched local news at 6, nightly news at 6:30, the world news at 6:30 on ABC. Boom, that's how, and we did it the family at the dinner table. So I would pay attention. This actually made anything sports related that makes the world news, I'm going to stop and pay attention. Pete is talking with Bart Giamatti or about whatever, and maybe this is the point, and you can help fill in the blanks for me. But Bart Giamatti bans him for baseball for life. But he's working with Bart on a deal. And then Bart dies. Faye Vincent comes in and says, whatever that deal was, we're sticking to it forever. And that's the one that I grew up knowing. Pete Rose is banned for baseball for life.
He accepted the ban in the deal, if you will.
Yes. With Bart.
With Bart Giamatti, Faye Vincent carried out. I interviewed Faye Vincent years later on this, and he was a brilliant man to talk to, and so erudite. And we talked about so many of the different avenues that this went in.
What word did you just say?
Erudite.
Erudite. That's
very
too
well.
early in the morning for that word. Wow,
You're a college graduate, for crying out loud.
That's a word, bro. Woo!
Come on, man. You've always known that I'm the wordsmith. I have those words in there. I
but
use them all the time.
I didn't know we were going those words.
I'm the only guy who figures out a way to use anti-disestablishmentarianism, totalitarianism, somewhere in there in sports. I screwed up the second word, but that's okay. Totalitarianism. There you go. But anyway,
you're talking with Faye Vincent.
We discussed all this, and Faye was very specific. Pete made an agreement. Pete admitted to Bart what he did. Pete accepted his punishment. Pete never did accept his punishment, because then he came out years later and said, I still didn't do it. He wouldn't admit it. And then he came out and admitted it. Then he came out and said, well, maybe it wasn't always true. Pete was a con artist.
Yes.
He played every angle that he possibly could, because that's what he grew up as. It goes into the same thing with the potential sexual assault case here, or the abuse of a minor, when Pete's excuse about having sex with a 14, 15, or 16-year-old, regardless of which or whatever story you listen to, was that, well, I didn't know she was underage. I think we've all heard that bullshit somewhere in a whole lot of cases before. Your Honor, I'm sorry, but I didn't know she was under 18. I can go now? Good. Okay, thanks.
Yeah,
I'm out of here.
Thanks.
You can't do it. Pete was a con man, and that whole case in and of itself gets shoved to the background because a lot of people in Cincinnati wanted it shoved to the background. That's another thing, too. In Cincinnati, many people still don't believe Pete ever did anything wrong. Because
they revere him. They absolutely revere him.
He's that hometown hero. Exactly. He's a god.
They treat him in Cincinnati like the people in Happy Valley treat Joe Paterno.
Yes. Regardless of anything Joe may or may not have done, Joe was still good for the program. We love him. He's our guy. Regardless of anything Pete may or may have done. And that aggravates me because somebody came back, and I posted this on social media, and I didn't make a copy of it, but for the show here, but I still have it, where this person came back to me and said, oh, stop, leave him alone on all this. Do you know that my grandfather, many, many years ago, he actually dated, and they were dating 14 and 15-year-olds at the time. That was a given thing. So were you saying that my grandfather was a sexual deviant? Yes!
Yes!
That's exactly what I'm saying. I don't give a shit if it happened in 1960, in 1930, in 1850. I don't care. Grown man in his 30s going after a 14, 15, 16-year-old, that's sexual assault, sexual abuse, that's sex with a minor. It doesn't make a difference. Although they'll come back and say, Well, wait a minute. We didn't know what a minor was back then. And a lot of times there were arranged marriages and they got with women who were younger, and it's okay. Bullshit. My head explodes at that. It doesn't make a difference if it was then or now. It is the same thing.
I enjoy listening to, and I remember the day he died, Mike Greenberg had Bob Costas on right away because Costas and Rose seemed to have a contentious, or Costas seemed to have he had something going for him.
Well,
but
Costas at that time was the voice of baseball. He was.
And people think he should be the commissioner of baseball. Like, he does love baseball that much, and he was.
Which I wouldn't have a problem with at all.
I agree, but Bob said something because now back to the point of what happened on Friday. I'll get to Bob in a moment. To the point of what happened on Friday. So now he's no longer banned, correct? Well, he's eligible for the Hall of Fame.
He's eligible.
He's eligible. Should the Veterans Committee vote him in? See, Costas had it all along with you. Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame, but somewhere on the plaque it has to say was banned for baseball for life, or am banned for baseball for life. I also think this is chicken shit of Rob Manfred, that you wait until the guy dies.
Of course,
if you're gonna do this, right? I get it. Now it's all. By the way, it's also another way to get.
And also, what they do. And also what he does is, it's not just about Pete Rose. See, here's how they market this, and here's how they play the PR game.
You bring Shoeless Joe.
It's also Shoeless Joe Jackson who's involved, because there are still people who, to this day, generationally, will say that Shoeless Joe should be in the game because there is no evidence, not a single shred of evidence ever, nor did anybody ever say and prove that Joe Jackson threw any games. He had an incredible batting average. He played his heart out in that World Series. He didn't throw a single game. Joe wasn't the smartest guy in the world. But there's no evidence that he threw a game, so he should be in. So by sneaking Joe Jackson in there, they go, we'll keep everybody happy here. We'll give him a little Joe Jackson possibility.
Yeah.
Let's put Pete in the same one so that we can kind of hide a little bit what we're trying to do here.
If people still had VCRs or DVD players, I would loan you all my copy of 8 Men Out and Field of Dreams, so you could all watch, because those are about the spike when people need to learn about who the hell Joe Jackson was.
Well, remember too, remember too a couple of things. 8 Men Out, the movie, which was a brilliant film, was, again, a Hollywood characterization of what actually happened.
Agreed.
And there's a lot of inaccuracies in there. There's a lot of Hollywoodese that's placed in there. And also, let's not forget that in Field of Dreams, Ray Liotta, who played Shoeless Joe Jackson, batted from the wrong side of the plate.
I did not know that. That's funny. I did not know that. That's great.
Go back and watch. Shoeless
Joe was a lefty?
Shoeless Joe was a lefty, and they played it as a right-hander.
That's funny. How do you screw that up?
It's really a great question. If you're doing it, how do you screw it up? I guess probably what happened in there is Liotta couldn't learn how to bat left-handed.
You even just tell Ray, look, you tell Ray, just swing, and we're going to CGI the shit out of this.
Well, wait a minute. Okay, but that's back in the 80s. They didn't have the CGI technology they have today.
Okay. Yeah.
And not only that, if you've ever played baseball, you ever played any sport, you know how absolutely impossible it is. If you're a dedicated right-hander, and I'm a dedicated righty. My dad was a lefty, actually was a little bit ambidextrous. But as a righty, I've tried hitting left-handed sometimes. It's freaking useless.
See, I'm a lefty. Hang on. I'm a lefty. Do I got the righty swing? I don't know.
I'm just...
Hang on, I got a bat here. Should we just start breaking shit in the house?
Kevin, it's not that bad. Life is not that bad. Don't hurt yourself, my friend. It's okay. We can still find a way out, Kev.
No. Oh God. Oh.
Anyway,
yeah.
Let's go to this, because I want, if people are wondering about all this, because these allegations have been brought in now again. They've always been out there, but every time you hear about Pete Rose, people say that Pete Rose bet on baseball. He broke baseball's cardinal rule, and they overlook a lot of this because it did not happen on the field of play. Which is what the argument is for many people, is that you can't hold that against Pete because the Baseball Hall of Fame is for what happens on the field.
But
yeah,
it's not.
And there are also clauses in the Baseball Hall of Fame that talk about character of an individual. Now,
Morality.
this
I believe
this
it's called
opens
the
up a
morality
whole new can of worms, because then the apologists will come out and say, well, if you're going to hold Pete to what he did with a minor, then you better start going through every single member of the Hall of Fame, and you know that you'll lose half the people in the Hall of Fame because they've all done something questionable.
Ty Cobb.
I mean, there are some people who talk about Ty Cobb. Ty Cobb was a flagrant racist, and Ty Cobb was a guy who also sharpened the spikes, real hard steel spikes, sharpened them so that when he would come into second base and there would be a black player or somebody that he didn't like, it didn't make any difference whatsoever, because there were no black players then, of course, because it was simply just still a segregated league. But if there was anybody he didn't like, he'd come in spikes up to looking to injure him. He was a nasty guy.
He's a piece of shit. He's a piece of shit.
There's a point there to be made that, yes, you would then have to start looking at everybody else. My point is, you got to start somewhere, guys, gang. You got to start somewhere.
So
and
I think.
Go ahead.
So I'm with you here because back to like when I was growing up and watching all this stuff unfold. Okay, so Pete Rose gets banned. Dad, why did he get banned? Can you help fill in some of these holes here? I'm 11 or whatever the hell age I am. Can you fill in some of these holes? He bet on baseball. There's a rule in every clubhouse. I actually went back. One of the first times I ever went into a clubhouse at Fenway Park, I actually looked for the rules. Boom. No gambling. Right there. No gambling. I'm like, so it says it there, and yet you're on the phone with Joey the Nose saying, hey, Lisa, say give me 10 times on us tonight. Okay, cool. Thanks. Right? All right, so he's banned. So he should be banned. Do I kind of like it? It's a rule. You broke a rule. You broke a hard and fast rule. But then I realized
it was at the time considered to be the most sacrosanct rule in baseball because it would lend to a discussion of the integrity of the game if you had one of their players, which we still have to this day. We've seen this already in the NBA. We've seen this in college sports. We've seen this in a lot.
And I'm okay with that.
Where immediately it comes up to, well, we can't trust the outcomes of the games right now because somebody might have fixed it.
But as I want to take it from this step, as I get older, and as I also watch, because I'm the PED era. I am my generation is the steroid era.
Yes.
I watch all those people and all those athletes who were damn good ball players who are not in the Hall of Fame, and we're not in the and I think they should be, but it should be just like you say for Pete Rose. You need a part on the plaque that says, well, hang on. Can you though? Because I'm thinking out loud here.
Sure you can.
Are you a convicted PED user, or were you a player who is suspicious of using PEDs?
Which comes into the Barry Bonds argument and Balco,
Roger
and
Clemens,
whether or not he actually broke a rule and whether or not he actually broke any federal laws whatsoever.
And therein lies the difference. So that's where, but we have eyes. We have eyes.
Yes.
We've seen, we can read.
Have you seen Sammy Sosa lately?
Yes, I have. Big time. We watched all the congressional hearings when they get called in front of Congress. So the Pete Rose was a little different from me growing up because I was young. But how do you have a Hall of Fame with the all-time leader in hits? Not in it.
He's in it.
Well, because no, he did it. Yeah, he did it. So that's where this Hall of Fame stuff becomes difficult. But you're right. If you ever doing a talk show, everyone just open up the phone lines, hand out your Twitter account, and away we go.
It is a frighteningly difficult subject to undertake because, I mean, we've just thrown out a couple of the excuses here. But Mike Wise, our third wheel here from time to time when he's not on assignment, even Mike brought up the issue of what happened with Pete with the sexual assault, the alleged assault of a minor. So for those who don't know the story, this is the story. This is a report from WCPO TV in 2018, which looked at a lot of these allegations when they continued to surface once again and goes into a little detail as to exactly what this is all about. So here's your history lesson for today.
A troubling allegation against a Cincinnati baseball legend. A woman claims she had sex with Pete Rose when she was 14 or 15. Not on your side. Chief investigative reporter Craig Cheatham has been digging through federal court records. And Craig, if this happened 4 decades ago, why are we hearing about it now?
Kristen, the information was contained in a motion filed today in federal court. The case began last year when Pete Rose sued former Major League Baseball investigator John Dowd for defaming him with false statements, including allegations that Rose repeatedly committed statutory rape and ran with 12 to 14-year-old girls. Today, Dowd's defense attorneys asked the judge in the case to order Rose to provide more information about any sex he had with girls under the age of 18. Pete Rose, baseball legend and all-time hits leader, was back in Cincinnati last month for the unveiling of a statue in his honor.
I thought getting in the Reds Hall of Fame was big. And I thought retiring my number would be the biggest thing. But this has got to be the ultimate goal for any player of his or her sport.
But just 6 months after that, court records revealed new allegations made against Rose by a woman who claims she had sex with him before she was 16 years old. In a response to the allegation, Rose admitted that he had sex with her after she turned 16. Ohio state law says you can give consent if you are 16. The revelations are part of a lengthy court record that began when Rose sued former Major League Baseball investigator John Dowd for defaming him in media interviews in 2015, when Rose was being reconsidered for the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Michael Berlini, told us that he not only ran bets, but he ran young girls for him down at spring training, ages 12 to 14. Isn't that lovely? So that's statutory rape every time you do that.
On Monday, during a phone interview with the I-Team, one of Rose's attorneys said that was a lie.
It is not true that Pete ever trafficked in women, which is what Dowd said. And it is not true that he ran women of 12 to 14 when he was at spring training.
Rose's attorneys say Dowd's lawyers are pursuing information about Rose that has nothing to do with the allegations in the lawsuit. But in a motion filed on Monday, Dowd's lawyers say the information is needed because of how important Rose's credibility is in this case, adding that if Rose did not want to answer questions about having sex with teenagers, his well-documented history of lying, or his mental health, he should not have filed this lawsuit.
Here's the problem in filing lawsuits. When you go after somebody and claim that they lied about you, you will eventually have to go into a court of law or a pre-trial hearing, and you will have to be deposed. You will have to then, under oath, tell your story. That's the issue, because Pete was saying that John Dowd lied about him. But in December of 2017, this lawsuit was dismissed after an agreement by both sides before Pete Rose was deposed and before he actually testified under oath about what he did and what he did not. Pete was going to be asked direct questions, and whatever he said at that point could be perjury, could be used against him in a court of law. And not only that, but the lawyer that you heard, Martin Grabus, who was the attorney at the time who said completely untrue, well, if it's not true, completely not true, don't be afraid. Hey, put it on the record. Get right in there. Be deposed. Tell your side of the story. Couldn't do it. Pete knew he'd be lying, and his attorneys finally told him, Pete, you got to back out of this right now, or else you're going to jail. Pete Rose admitted as much as you heard in that story, and everybody knows. He admitted that he had sex with an underage girl at the time. He was in his 30s and married. And not only that, that's just one instance. There may indeed have been many more that were alleged. That's the problem. Pete Rose is not a guy I want to have in a Hall of Fame, and I want to say there and go, I saw Pete Rose. What a great player. Yeah, he could hit the shit out of the ball. Because he could also hit the shit out of a 12 and 14-year-old girl when he wanted to as well. That's a problem. It happened, and people have got to start recognizing that that's a bigger issue, or an equally as big issue, as gambling.
No, you had it right. The baseball purists will say it's an equally as big issue. But a morally just person will say the 12 and 14-year-old is the bigger issue than just gambling on baseball and breaking a rule. There's a difference. Like, look, I break a rule every day when I get on the highway. I do 70. I don't do 65. Right? By the way, the cops know. The cops know this.
I'm sure your license knows it as well, but that's another
story.
Oh,
it does. Hang on. It did for a long time, buddy. It did for a long time. Bicycle Central at one point. But that's part of the problem. Are we morally just, or do we just not give a shit about morals anymore? Part of as we go on is the older you get, the more morally just you become. Because when you're younger, I could say this as I get older. I'm embarking on 50 in 3 years. The more you get older, you realize the fuck was I doing? At the time, you don't give a shit. You actually you don't. You just if I don't get caught, that means it was right. That's actually the philosophy you use. If I don't get caught, okay.
We did it all the time growing up on the streets of Greenwich Village. All the time.
Yep. Exactly. So I get it. But which is why I knew this would be a bigger hot button for you than it would be for me. Again,
the age difference probably and the era that I saw. I agree with that.
Yeah, and again, I am more to the PED side of things because that's the guys I grew up. I mean, I remember in '98 running home from school from work every afternoon and getting together. And if there's an afternoon game, whether the Cardinals are playing or the Cubs are playing in an afternoon game, the first thing you do is you flip on SportsCenter to find out that Sammy Sosa or Mark McGwire hit a home run in the great home run chase in '98.
And Major League Baseball let it go because it was a tremendous marketing and PR gig. They had people watching. The ratings were going through the ceiling. Everybody was making a spitload of money. And baseball basically...
They had to. They were coming off a strike years before. They're coming off a strike 4 years before that killed the World Series.
They were complicit in everything that happened. They allowed it to happen, and they knew it was happening. Look,
so again, that to me, that's where I am more invested, shall we say, in that side than I am for Pete Rose.
Fair.
I do wish we saw Pete Rose play because if you get over 4,000 hits, you're a hell of a hitter. That means you did something right.
He's the greatest hitter in the history of the game.
Right.
I'm not even going to question that. I mean, you can't because he did it on the field.
This is where Plaque still can say, greatest hitter in the history of the game, banned from baseball for life. I got no problem with that. Individually, would you have a problem if individually he goes into the Hall of Fame? He now gets in. Again, first of all, I said this earlier. It's bullshit that Rob Manfred did this after he dies, but I understand it's easy, okay? And you do it with Shoeless Joe. Best hitter in the history of the game, banned from baseball and life in whatever year it happened.
I have said for years, going back to talk shows in Miami days, that Pete Rose goes into the Hall of Fame as an individual the moment he admits what he did, says it on the record, doesn't back up, and his plaque states exactly why it took time for him to go into the Hall of Fame, that he bet on baseball and admitted it, lied about it, and then was given a second chance by a commissioner at a certain time. I got no problem with that. I got no problem also with Joe Jackson getting into the Hall of Fame, and for his plaque to say, Joe was part of, or whatever you want to, some sort of historical, you'd have to shorten this down a lot. Joe was part of the 1919 Black Sox. He was accused of throwing the games, but there was never any evidence whatsoever that Joe did anything to alter the outcome of any single game.
Right.
And then he was allowed into the Hall of Fame. I think, to me, that's part of history. That's part of the reality of what it is.
Oh, sure. And this gets to a bigger discussion somewhere down the line. Today's day and age, people try to erase history, whether it's the bad history whether it's a country, whether it's a bad history, or whether it's something that doesn't fit their eye these days, right? Or their language or their belief system. We try to erase history. Stop. It's there. It's in the records, right?
It's real. It's fact.
It's real. It happened. It's fact. Fact. When the legend becomes fact, print the legend.
That's and that comes down to, again, the sex with a minor issue. I would want to ask every single person who wants Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame a very simple question. Are you comfortable with a man being lauded and being memorialized in a Hall of Fame who has admitted that he had sex with underage girls?
Right.
That's it.
I get it.
Yes or no. Stop right there.
I know.
And if you say, I got no problem with it, my follow-up question is going to be, do you have daughters?
Yeah, I know. I get you.
Do you have any women in your family?
Right.
You okay with that? And I'll want to then follow up on it,
Well,
which then comes down to this argument of this individual who wrote me back on social media how it's not a big deal because my grandfather was dating 13 to 15-year-olds many years ago back in the early 1900s, and everybody did it.
I'm not sure that's something we want out in the public, buddy.
It's what she said. I've got it sitting right there. And
I know.
I walked away from her and said, I think you and I need to go our separate ways for a while. Her answer back was, some people just can't take a joke.
Oh, see, okay. First off, that's a problem. That's the problem.
Oh, no. It was some people don't have a sense of humor. I go back. That's
okay,
still
fine.
a problem.
That's still a problem. Not everything. Hey, I'm at the age with one of my nieces and nephews.
I kind of draw the line at sexual assault, buddy.
You saw, right? One of my nieces and nephews, they always keep trying to say, oh, it's a joke. And I say, look, you're at the age where if you think something's funny, it probably isn't. I said, I just need you to understand that. And in 5 years, you're going to know what I'm talking about. I remember my dad once told me that. I was being a dick. And I thought everything was a funny joke and I could just bust chops. And he got so sick and tired of it. My dad says, look, if you think it's funny, it probably isn't.
It's fair.
Right?
In the end of all this, with all we know and with everything that's there, I'm even of the opinion now that Pete Rose never goes into the Hall of Fame. It's done. It's over. Live with it. He is in the Hall of Fame for the records that he held. He is still recognized as the all-time hit king. I believe I looked this up one time, and I think there were 3 instances of where Pete Rose is mentioned in Cooperstown as part of baseball records. So he's there. He's in the Hall of Fame. He doesn't have an individual plaque. I'm okay with that.
That's fair.
I'm okay.
That's fair.
We're late. A couple of things I just want to get to real quick. Let's throw a few things out here because, first of all, the NBA is praying beyond all shadow of a doubt, and you, Mr. NBA guy, you're going to admit this to me. You have to. They are just absolutely hoping that the New York Knicks win the Eastern Conference. They don't care who wins the Western Conference because without the New York Knicks, this is going to be a ratings disaster for the NBA because, hey, no offense, Oklahoma and Minnesota. I know you guys love your teams. I get it. But from a national standpoint, you got like a bunch of people in certain areas of the country that care and they like certain players on both teams. Nobody cares. The Knicks right now are the focal point to drive the NBA.
Disaster if the New York Knicks don't make the NBA Finals for the NBA. For ABC, disaster.
Indiana versus Oklahoma? Okay, I guess.
Okay. Look, hang on. Now, everyone, I need you to understand. We're not saying it'd be bad basketball.
No.
Because it'd be good basketball. It'd be great players. Right. When you get to a champ, why is the Super Bowl so big? Because on Sunday afternoon, whatever date in late January when I was growing up, early January when you were growing up, now mid-February, right? On that date, on that date, nothing else happens after 5 o'clock in the afternoon in the sports world because everyone gets together to watch that game. It's a ratings bonanza. It doesn't matter who's playing. God, for so many times in the 80s, the NFC beat the shit out of the AFC. Games were never close. Not even close. Well, that doesn't happen in the NBA on a Wednesday night for Game 3. Or a Friday night for a Game 3 in the middle of the summertime. Not happening.
We're just being real, guys. It's okay. Indiana versus Oklahoma series, Nobody is asking everybody, hey, come on over. We're going to have chips and dips and
I
rips
actually,
and beers.
I
Come
actually
on."
think the combinations that you can make of the teams left, I think they're going to be entertaining series. I don't see a blowout in any scenario in which we have a setup, right? I think they're going to be an entertaining series. No one's going to watch.
No.
No one's going to watch. Sorry.
There will be people who will watch because they will have favorites in some of the players on Oklahoma, on Minnesota.
For literal boy out there. Sorry. Yeah. People will watch. It just won't be where we're at. And then you're gonna get the networks that the people who hate ESPN, Clay Travis, who love saying, "Oh God, it's a ratings disaster." Well, it's the fucking NBA. Sometimes it happens. Asshole.
Ratings disaster. They don't care about it. Their money is all stashed away at this point. The ratings go down a little bit. They'll be just fine.
They want 5 games. If you get 5 games in the NBA Finals, they make money.
Yes.
Or they break even. 6 games, they make money. 7 games, it's a cash cow.
But will it be an NBA final that everybody will talk about for years and years to come?
Not a chance in hell. Not a chance in hell.
Not a chance. Not a chance.
Not a chance. Not a chance.
Although I would say that New York fans deserve it. Those idiots who are out there climbing on street poles and light poles after the game. Guys, you won the second round. Second. 2. I mean, places like Boston and LA and Chicago and Dallas and other places where they're used to winning, Miami.
Even San Francisco.
They don't go nuts over second round games.
Yep.
You know, you win the conference, you can go a little crazy, but you still don't have to climb light poles. What is it with this incessant nonsense? I was waiting for somebody to drag out a couch somewhere and light it on fire.
College dorm rooms do that. College dormitories do that.
Yeah, but I'm figuring, why not? It may as well just go ahead and be right on 6th Avenue, right in front of the Garden, for crying out loud. Why not? I mean, they're beating on cars and banging on people's cars while they're coming by because the Knicks, you won a second round. You haven't won anything yet.
Congratulations. Yeah.
But then again, the Knicks fan, I get the hardcore Knicks fan will come back and say, Ed, come on, man. We haven't had anything to root about in a long time. I mean, especially that. We beat the Celtics, too, and we hate everything that's Boston. So give us a break. Okay, I'll give you a break. Don't go out and beat up cars and climb on light poles.
Hang on. No, hang on. Ready? Hold up, ready? Hang on. This is coming from me. Hey, Knick fan, you want a break? Don't lose next round. Or you're a fucking joke. Don't lose next round.
It really is fair to say, because if the Knicks don't win the conference finals now, everything is wasted. Oh, we won the second round. You lost.
Wasted.
You're out.
The Knicks have to get to the NBA Finals now.
Yes. Yes, for the season to be relevant now to New York Knicks fans, you can scream all you want. We won in the second round and we beat the Celtics. Yeah, and then you torched it in the finals when you only had 4 games to win to get in the finals. You lost to the Indiana Pacers.
You lost to the Indiana Pacers.
You know.
Yeah. You're not
going to live that one down so easy.
Herb Brooks, you'll take it to your bleeping grave.
Finally, is it fair to say there is nothing more entertaining in the sports world right now than watching the way Brad Marchand just lives and lived rent-free in the heads of every Toronto Maple Leafs player and fan. It is the best part of the National Hockey League playoffs, especially when he walks off the ice and the Leafs fan is there leaning over the side and giving him grief. And Marchand leaves, we just beat you guys. Okay, have a nice day.
Yeah, we just beat you.
Best part of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
I texted you this, and for those of you who don't know, I call him the little ball of hate.
He is. Well, but you're right.
The little ball of hate.
And he is the little ball of hate. Everybody hates him. He's the little ball of
hate. We called him that up in Boston when he was here.
Yes.
So this isn't who you play. That's just who he is. He's a little ball of hate.
And you can call him. Look, in Florida, where they made their bones a long time ago by throwing rats on the ice, plastic rats on the ice, when they were able to get to the Stanley Cup playoffs, and you had a hat trick or something else like this. And by the way, oh God.
You have a rat?
I do have a rat, but I don't see it anywhere back here. Wait.
You got one? You got size of that thing.
There it is. This is one of the actual rats. This comes from their Stanley Cup season. These are one of the rats that got thrown on the ice. And yeah, you can see how big that damn thing is.
Yeah.
So anyway, you have everything there. But this is from a franchise that has based themselves on the Rats, and they call him the Rat.
Yes.
And they love him for it.
And
I'm telling you right now, hey, Florida Panthers fans, listen up and love what I say right now. You would not have beaten the Toronto Maple Leafs without Brad Marchand. You'd be going home.
That's fair. Fair.
And I'm going to catch so much grief from that from the Panthers fans. I know all good friends who are going to come back and say, you just hate the Panthers because you're a Boston Bruins fan. Hey, man, I had season tickets for the first 5 seasons to the Panthers because I was thrilled to have hockey here in the area, and I got them from my parents to go all the time. I still have all this paraphernalia and all this stuff from the Panthers.
You have a rat. You have a
but
rat.
Right now, I'm rooting for the Panthers because I want Marchand to win a Stanley Cup ring, and I want him to go back and go, hi, guys, see this?
Yeah, I know.
See this?
Yeah. Well, the only good news for the Bruins is he got Boston a first-round pick.
Well, see, that's the other thing, too, and I was explaining that to people because he played in 50% of the games since he was traded because the Panthers got to the second round of the playoffs, which was all in the deal itself. The Bruins now get, I think, a 2027 first-rounder?
Whatever it is, who the hell knows, yeah.
But they get a first-round pick.
They get a first-round pick.
I'm happy. Everything's fine. And the Maple Leafs fans are playing golf. Hey. It's another May in Canada. Reminder again that if you want to go ahead and watch us on YouTube, just go to at the Fastest Show in Sports. That's our channel there. You can see all of them there, all the shows unedited. You can also see excerpts from the show. Go to all your podcast platforms and go to Fastest Show in Sports. You can listen to us and download us there as well. And also, don't forget, brought to you by Polar Seltzer. The company that we are constantly going to keep sending these little clips to on video and telling Polar that we are available for sponsorship. And not only that, but the ringleader actually drinks Polar, as you can see by drinking the Papaya Breeze special. So Polar, best seltzer water in America, and soon to be sponsor of the Fastest Show in Sports.
Aren't they 45 minutes from me in Worcester?
I don't know.
Yeah, they are. Do you need me to go ring the doorbell and just knock on the door one day?
They're in Worcester? Wait a minute. Holy crap. I never knew that. There it is.
They're in Worcester.
Polar Seltzer. Okay. I'm going to send these on video. I'm going to tweet these on X.
Yep.
And make sure that they get them. And then you got to go up and go. By the way, guys.
Hi, guys. We good? I'm him. I'm the little redhead.
I'm the younger redhead. He's the old guy. He drinks them because he just, he can't do any kind of alcohol or anything like that during the show.
Polar Park. That's the Red Sox AAA affiliate's name. Polar Park.
Which one of these days will happen. There will be a cocktail session on this show. That'll be even frightening.
Damn straight. Polar. What can we mix it with?
Whatever you want. I don't care.
Rum.
Go crazy.
Go. Let's
go. I'm thinking about something in the tequila line right now, but that'll be fine.
Boy. That's what I like. Polar. Let's get an alcoholic version going.
Anything but Coors Light. He's Kevin Winter. I'm Ed Berliner. We're going to change him one of these things, get him on good beer. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. Rock on, true believers. Until next time, see ya.
That's all, folks.